As you can tell by the title of today's video, my role as firewife is on my mind again, and I wanted to share some things I wish I knew before marrying a firefighter. Now, this is a little tongue-in-cheek because it's not like I would have left him at the altar had I known these things. It's also, these thoughts are not a threat to new firewives, not like a just you wait. No. These are just reflections on our lifestyle, reflections from one firewife who enjoys a little retrospect. And I thought, if there are new firewives out there, maybe they could find some encouragement from my experience. So here we go. Hypervigilance is a term that did not used to be part of my vocabulary. Firefighters necessarily enter a state of hypervigilance on duty, both to respond to the life-threatening calls they face, but also to meet the demands of this paramilitary workplace around the firehouse. John and I have learned through years of trial and error that he needs a transition period between leaving work and re-entering home life. Otherwise, the kids and I might be like a little scrutinized like rookies. Now, why is this important for me to keep track of when he's the one who needs to be taking care of himself? Well, he's not rushing home as soon as he gets relief, and I have some sympathy for that. I can remember when it's taking him a while to get home from the station that he is preparing himself to be his best for us, and I really appreciate that. Children are very perceptive, and ours never forget where daddy is. It's one of the first things they want to know when they wake up. But they're also so adaptable. They miss their dad when he's at work for a 72-hour shift, but they also jump right back into bonding mode when he has a stretch of 4 days off. For better or worse, they have just gotten used to this feast or famine access to dad. They know also that if they ever really need him, he will make a way to show up. That leads me to my next reflection, which is that variety is such a blessing. I, too, have become used to the feast or famine access to John. I gotta be honest, if he's been off for a week or more, like in the case of a family trip or something, I'm kind of ready to send him back to work and be the captain of the ship again. I have my own structure with the kids. I have my own way of doing housework. I have my own shows that I watch on nights when he's away. And listen, I have the king-size bed all to myself a third of the time. You will not hear me complaining about that. But similarly, when he's getting off of a long shift, I'm so ready to see him. In our marriage, we get to experience the phenomenon of absence making the heart grow fonder on a regular basis. I'm really thankful for that. So the first day off for John is what we call transition day. I touched on it earlier when mentioning how he needs time to transition out of hypervigilance mode. Well, he also needs time, like a transition for physical rest. And a lot of our free time as a family is taken up by sleep hygiene. He needs to catch up on sleep. If he's had a high call volume the night before, he needs to sleep in on his days off to reset his circadian clock. He also needs to get to bed pretty early the night before returning to work. So I will say with young kids who also need a lot of sleep, we've gotten used to this one. But a few years back when John started taking his sleep more seriously, I kind of struggled to accept how much time it was going to require. Usually John can schedule himself to work multiple days in a row and then be off multiple days in a row. A couple times a month, however, he will have what we call a quick turnaround day, where he has just 24 hours off between shifts. It's tempting to kind of throw these days out as far as expecting any quality time together. Like I just mentioned, he needs to sleep in and then he needs to turn around and go to bed early again. It might look like a full 24 in the calendar, but it's really just a few hours that we get to spend together because we live so far from his station. So I have learned to keep my expectations reasonable on these days and to just look forward to family dinner. If we get a little bit of extra time with him before or after, that's a bonus. Okay, let's do a positive one. Becoming a firewife fast-tracked my competence. I spend a lot of time alone and solo parenting. I also have the more flexible schedule between the two of us, so I've become the family administrator in a lot of areas. I have become an expert in things I never expected to possess knowledge of. I manage our rental property. I'm learning to homeschool our oldest daughter. I'm the keeper of everyone's social security numbers and passports. It's not to say I'm an expert in all of those areas, but you get what I mean. Now, is being a firewife a prerequisite for being a strong, independent woman? No, definitely not. But it happened to be my route into competency with adult life skills, and for that, I'm so thankful and I'm proud of myself. I do talk about solo parenting a lot, so I'll keep this one quick. But I didn't realize before becoming a mom that weekends would be the loneliest time to solo parent. Most of my mom friends who are available for play dates midweek because their partners are at work, they're committed to family stuff on the weekends, as it should be. That's when they have access to family time. But my husband is often working a 72 right through the weekend, especially this summer. It feels like he's worked most weekends. So I just have had to get strategic about planning outings and activities throughout a solo parenting weekend to keep the days moving along. Otherwise, I can get a little down over this. Lastly, I just want to say this idea of being married to a hero, it is not an overly inflated stereotype. What firefighters do really is heroic, and I'm so proud of mine. It really delights me, especially when we get to visit the station, watching him interact with kids on duty, both our kids and others who visit, because I can see, like, in a pure, unfiltered way, how impressive their work is. Children are just wowed, and they express it in a way that would be too cringe for me to express as an adult. But on the inside, I'm like, that's so cool. I want to climb the ladder too. I really am so proud of him. Well, thank you for being here today. If you know a firewife, would you send her this video? I just want fire families all over to feel more connected and less alone. So it would mean a lot to me if you would share. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, friends.